Hi, welcome to Home Economics class. I'm your teacher, Luna. Whatever gender you are, aren't, or for any age under the sun, it's important to be able to live within your means, especially as we see the cost of living go up while wages stagnate. So today we're focusing on the economics of home economics, and I'm going to teach you how to make your first budget. Now, obviously this isn't a substitute for the actual solution, which would be income inequality by restoring living wages and rent control as the cost of living skyrockets and the American dream of owning a home dies. However, as somebody who grew up with food insecurity and has lived paycheck to paycheck in government subsidized housing, this helped me get by. So let's get started. The budget I'm teaching today is a one-page budget. This is perfect for beginners because it's only one page to print and keep track of. It's great because you can see your entire month at a glance and it avoids you feeling overwhelmed. If you're going to use a computer program for this, rather than the common Microsoft Word doc, I would actually suggest using Publisher or any off-brand of it. This is because you can move around tables, text boxes, and pictures without it affecting the rest of your page. If you want to go name brand for this, many public libraries do give free access to this to their patrons. If you're doing this by hand, a lined or graph paper will do perfectly. Now, let's get to drafting. There's two key items you want at the top of the page, and the first is the month and the year. It's super helpful to be able to easily see, first thing, which budget cycle you're working with. This is important for keeping your budget organized throughout the year. The second key item placed beneath the month and year is your monthly total. This is a simple 3 lines summarizing how much money you've made that month, how much money you've spent that month, and finally, whether you're at a net positive or negative for that month. Making sure that you are not spending more than you're making is the whole point of a budget. And so that summary needs to be at the top because that is the focus. Everything in the budget sheet beneath that is your plan for how you're going to keep out of the red. In other words, stop your final total from being a negative number. Once we've put those items at the top, we can begin to make our plan beneath it. This area of the budget is very much up to personal style, so feel free to customize and reformat to what suits your needs best. However, in this lesson, I'm going to show you what basic components you need to include in your budget sheet and how I format it as a guideline. So the next two things I have on my page is recurring monthly expenses and paychecks. For paychecks, I put enough boxes for how many paychecks I expect to receive each month, plus one more for the total. So for bi-weekly paychecks, for most months, I would put 2 boxes for each deposit I'm going to receive, and then a third for the total. If you are making this for a multi-income household, you simply need to add an extra column of this for each earner, and then another line on top to label who each column belongs to. Here's a sample of what that looks like. This is based on taking the minimum hourly wage for my state and calculating the net income for full-time and part-time work. In other words, this is a very generous pre-deduction estimation, in case you're wondering. Now, moving on to recurring expenses. I have 3 columns. 1 to list what each expense is. 1 to tell me how much I expect it to cost. In other words, how much I am budgeting for it. And 1 to write in how much I've actually spent for it this month. This is the meat and potatoes of the budget, and it is where most of the planning and number crunching takes place each month. So at the top, we're going to have a row to label our columns. Then we'll fill in however many rows we need. And once we're done with that, we'll put 1 more row at the bottom for our totals. Here's an altered example of what my rows look like. Once I've gone and made sure I've listed every recurring monthly expense, I need to add the sum and make sure it is less than the total for my paychecks. The numbers in this estimated cost will come from looking into your spending history. So for the first time at least, you'll need to look into your bank statements. For example, taking a look at how high your electric bill is usually. The more months you follow the budget, the better you'll get at creating an estimate. After doing this for so long, I already have an idea for how much my electric bill will go up in the summer. And this is the thing that makes a budget effective. It acts as a living budget. Your expenses might vary from month to month or from the seasons. That's why it's crucial to sit down at the end of each month, tally that month's budget, and plan for the next one. Tailoring your budget for your household is a learning process. With that, let's go over the last section on our page, non-recurring costs. Here I have an unexpected income and expenses section. Unexpected or non-recurring income could be selling your old suitcase in an online marketplace, or maybe you have a side hustle, but the sales or gigs are sporadic. For me, I'll sell stuff on eBay, but most months the section is empty. Still, when I do have some extra money, I'll need a place to account for it. Unexpected or non-recurring expenses are emergency or necessary one-time costs. Sometimes a tire pops and you need a place to document that this cost incurred. Now, it can be very tempting for some to use this as a free space to wiggle out of your budget. Oh, I really want pizza tonight, but I've already used up my takeaway budget. I'll just put it in unexpected. Your checking account does not care. Please use this space responsibly. For non-emergency expenses, I like to put a post-it note over this section to plan for what costs I might have or need this month specifically, so I can make sure it fits with what's left of my budget after I've paid for the recurring monthly expenses. Here's a sample of what that might look like. I know I'll have to get an oil change. I know I'll need gas and overnight accommodations for a family wedding I'm going to attend. And if possible, I know I'll need to buy one holiday storage container as mine broke. And once I've tallied it, I can see that it'll fit with the remainder of my budget. Budget is essentially two things: planning and math. With that, you have all the basics to build your very own budget. If you'd like to learn further, I have a part 2 scheduled where I go over a couple exercises on utilizing the budget to its fullest. This will include how to plan and crunch from month to month. But for this lesson, we've reached our end. I hope this video was helpful and informative. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. I try and put out new videos every new and full moon, and I hope you'll be here next time. Bye!